Hello everybody, Shinjo here, welcome back to the channel and to a Pokemon Horizons update video. So, the last time that I discussed Horizons was back in December of 2023. And I'm honestly surprised about that. But I'm sure if you're familiar with anything Pokemon, you know that big stuff has happened and it's been a while since I've discussed it, and what better time to discuss it than when they take a break. So I'm going to start by going arc by arc, and then go into more specifics on the characters. So the first arc, Sparkling the Terapagos, there was a bit of filler at the start, but I really enjoyed the end of the arc. I like the idea of Liko starting off, and I'll get into Liko better, or more specifically later on, but I like how Liko isn't just a master trainer from the start. Much like how Yuma is inexperienced in Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal compared to other Yu-Gi-Oh! Characters where it's just super gifted. But yeah, first arc was really good. Really solid world building. The Terastal debut, I like it. And I like the idea. Oh, did I miss something there? Oh, right. Sparkling the Terapagos was a big thing. That's right. I forgot how long it was. But yeah, the Terastal debut was good. I like the idea of Liko, Roy, and Duck going around doing the gym challenge, much like how Ash did before. But there were some missed opportunities, in my opinion. Much like Roy's Crocalor not evolving in the Rhyme fight, I feel like that would have been really cool. Granted, he did evolve later anyway, but I would have preferred it if he evolved during the gym battle. Also, there are very little stakes because the characters either won the first time or lost, went again, and won. Overall. Obviously, Liko and Grusha is the exception, but overall, that's how it went. Also, I'm realizing that I should have brought this up before, but there are going to be spoilers in this video, obviously, since I'm discussing Horizons. But I might put something on beforehand. So, the Rayquaza Rising arc. First of all, there's less filler than the previous ones, which is already a good sign that we can just get right into it. And the last group of episodes are really good. I really like the big confrontation at Laqua. And while it kind of, I don't want to say it kind of like meanders a little bit, because there was that random episode where they fought the Entei that wasn't actually the Entei. Overall, I enjoyed it. If I would have to rank all the arcs, it would probably be Rayquaza Rising first, then Sparkling the Terapagos, and then Terastal debut. Not because Terastal debut is bad, but more that just I like the other two better. And now on to more specifics about the characters. So, first of all, it makes sense to start with Liko. I like her development over the arcs. I like how she started off being a backward sort of character, kind of shy in her own head, where she grows into a more confident person. That I really enjoyed. And for Roy, while he's not my personal favorite character, I do look forward to seeing what he's going through with each arc, and also what he's going to go through in the future. In a way, he's just Ash, basically. And while that could be a turnoff for a lot of people, I enjoy him. He's a bit stupid at times, but at the same time, you kind of need a comic relief in some senses. Now, to round off the group of three, Dot is my personal favorite of the three. It may be because she's essentially a YouTuber, and I feel like in some senses, you could argue that she's had more growth than Liko. I mean, Dot is basically just Liko just in her own shell, kind of backwards, but in my opinion, I like her a little bit more. Now, as for the explorers, they're okay. Most of them have little development overall, but characters like Spinel are going to be interesting moving forward, especially with what happened at the end of the show. And obviously, Amethio, he's a bit of a wild card. I enjoyed to see what he gone through and what he developed into. Although I think my personal favorite from the explorers is Coral, I think her name is in the dub. The one that's voiced by Pikachu that has the scream tail. I can't think of what her name is offhand. I just have a mental block. But, oh, it's Sango, I believe. Yeah, I think it's Sango because the other one is Sidian. I may be mixing up the English and Japanese voices, but the one that's voicing Pikachu that has the scream tail, I really enjoy her mainly because she's such a wild card. But for the Rising Voltacklers, most of them are just in the background most of the time. I do like the idea of Orla just being the one that's in charge of the ship, and her development with building the thing in the first place, and Molly's development with being a previous Nurse Joy are interesting, but I highly doubt that they're going to be touched on anymore. Because I think they've even kind of alluded to it or just flat out said it before, that anymore the show and the whole thing going on is in the hands of Liko, Roy, and Dot, and most of the Rising Voltacklers do kind of take a back seat. And I feel like I should mention Freed. I enjoy Freed. There are people that die by Freed, and I personally don't understand it. He's okay, but I wouldn't say he's my favorite character. And most characters of the day are just kind of there. Like, I'm thinking of the 2 Oinkologne trainers in that one filler episode. There are a bunch of them that are just random one-off characters, but I enjoy a couple of them. I can't think of them offhand, but that's why they're called filler characters. Now, before I get into the poster and what's going to be happening moving forward, there's one thing I want to discuss, and I feel like it's something that a lot of people beat everybody to death over, but I didn't want to include it in a negative because overall I enjoy the show. Only other thing that I didn't really like is how there's so much filler most of the time, but I don't like how Liko, Roy, and Dot just use their starters most of the time. Because Liko has a Hattrem, and I love Hattrem. Dot has a Tinkatuff. I love Tinkatuff. Roy has a Kilowattrel. But it just feels like they get sidelined so many times in favor of the starters. Even, for example, when Liko, Roy, and Dot are fighting the Entei, Liko uses her Grass type. I don't know if Hattrem would have been a better option, but at least it's not weak to fire. It just feels like there are so many times I'm scratching my head wondering why they're not using their second Pokemon. And I get it, they're the starters, it makes sense that they would prioritize them, but they're doing it to a sickeningly degree at this point, in my opinion. It may be just a coincidence, but I just don't understand why they're sidelining their second Pokemon. And it makes me feel bad if people like Liko and Dot get more Pokemon, because that's more Pokemon to sideline. But on that note, that's a nice transition into what's happening in the future. So in the last episode, there was a 1-year time skip, and for some reason, Roy has a shiny Lucario, which I'm not sure how to feel about that, because that either means the Lucario is going to get sidelined, or that's another Pokemon that's taking spotlight away from Kilowattrel. But overall, there's not much that's super known about it. There's some dude that's going to be palling around with them that has a Mega Sableye. Liko is back at school. Roy has a Mega Ring. Dot's probably on the ship again. So I don't really know what's happening besides the fact that it seems like they're going to go and try and find Freed. But I know everybody, even people that haven't watched Pokemon, were clamoring over this 1-year time skip. And I feel like, especially after the time skip, it was a perfect opportunity to discuss my thoughts on Horizon so far. At the moment, I would give it a solid 7 to 8 out of 10, but that's going to really depend on how they end the show. I don't know when they're going to end it. I don't know anything about rumors or anything like that, so I would prefer to be left unknown about stuff like that. But I wanted to give my notes on what I think about Horizons so far. And let me know what you think about Horizons. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you wish Ash would come back? I didn't even want to touch on that because that's a can of worms in itself. But if you enjoyed, hit that like button down below. Subscribe if you haven't. And I'll see you next time. Momentai.